Hi. Um, I got the courage to do another video thanks to my subscriber. um, the next part of the introduction, believe it or not, is the spell in the tales. So I thought I would read a little bit of it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. It says, further analysis may show the tales to be even less like the popular conception of them. Of the 24 classic stories in this collection, 4 are literally tales which have kept their literary form: the Yellow Dwarf, Thumbelina, the Swineherd, and the Tinderbox. Of the remaining 20, Little Red Riding Hood and the 3 Bears have nothing magical about them, other than that the animals behave to a greater or lesser degree like human beings and are able to speak, an accomplishment which comes as no surprise to students of Aesop. The tale of Bluebeard contains a single magical incident, the reappearance of blood on the key of the Forbidden Chamber, an incident inessential to the story. 2 further tales, the 3 Wishes and the Princess on the Pea, are definitely magical, but they are magical for a work-a-day purpose. They are fables rather than tales of romance. The long stories about Tom Thumb, Jack and the Giant Killer, and Jack the Beanstalk Climber, the 3 best-known tales that are indigenous to Britain, although packed with fantastical happenings, are only incidental romances. In essence, they are simple adventure stories, as is the tale of that dressed-up cheap Puss in Boots. 2 further adventure stories are Hansel and Gretel and Hop O' My Thumb. They concern peaceful characters of humble origin who have no desire to battle with ogres, but who, when put to it, use native wit to outsmart the forces of evil. The stories of Rumpelstiltskin and the 12 Dancing Princesses might also be classed along with them as describing 2 further skirmishes with the supernatural. But in the versions given by the Grimm brothers, they are both stories in which the reader is singularly uninterested in the fate of the principal character. However, in the stories that are central to the fairy tale tradition, the tales of royal romance and magical transformation, tales which are mostly of great age, and all of which are in one way or another related to each other, we find ourselves closely identifying with the principal characters. These characters are Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, the unnamed heroine of Diamonds and Toads, the King of Colchester's daughter in the 3 Heads in the Well, Beauty in Beauty and the Beast, and the young princess in The Frog Prince. With Cinderella, whose story is at least 1,000 years old. Wow, I didn't know that. We have not only a girl who is worthy of becoming a princess, as has already been suggested, but a girl who is being supernaturally prevented from becoming a princess. When her situation is closely examined, particularly with the aid of parallels from different countries, she is seen to be under enchantment, not when she is in her beauteous state, for that is her natural condition, but she is in her kitchen state. Perrault's story, for all its wit and compassion, is a worldly and somewhat sentimentalized version of older, darker stories, which have many strange undertones. For instance, in a number of the variants, it is apparent that the magical assistance the heroine receives comes to her from the spirit of her dead mother. Indeed, there are analogous tales in which the mother is also the indirect cause of the girl's distressed condition. In these stories, the girl, who is often already a princess, has been obliged to leave her royal home and take kitchen employment elsewhere due to a terrifying circumstance. Her mother, on her deathbed, has commanded her father not to marry again until he finds a woman who is as lovely as herself, or who possesses a finger so delicate it will fit her ring. After much searching, the father, a king, realizes there is only one person as beautiful as was his wife, or with the ability to wear the ring, and this is his own daughter, whom he determines to marry. Oh, jeez. Hence the girl's flight. I've never heard this tale. Not a good one either. In the story of Snow White, who also suffers because of her beauty, the fact of her being under a spell during her formative years, from the age of 7 to probably 15, is more obvious than in Cinderella's case. During these years, she is laid out in a coffin, apparently dead. Release from the enchantment can be effected, it is evident only through the seemingly unlikely event of someone necessarily of royal birth falling in love with her lifeless body. The explanation that she comes to life through the piece of poisoned apple falling from her lips when her body is moved, poetic though the notion may be, is a mere rationalization, as can be seen by comparing her history with that of Sleeping Beauty, who we are explicitly told is under a spell and whose sleeping body must necessarily be discovered by a king's son, or in an earlier text, be raped by a king. Gosh, if she is to be freed from the enchantment that has kept her in a coma for 100 years. Huh. How about she saves herself? Jeez, I don't know. In Diamonds and Toads, and more especially in The Three Heads in the Well, isn't that nice? Surely the weirdest of the tales, we are at the heart of fairy tale morality, where girls in a distressed state yet possess the charity to care for the condition of others. In The Three Heads in the Well, a princess willingly picks up one dismembered head, gosh, after another, washing it and combing its hair, and laying it down gently. Actions requiring the courage and the tranquil acceptance of a surprising situation, which it is well known many women do possess in an emergency. What? Thus, when the compassion of the King of Colchester's daughter is appreciated, wow, her relationship to Beauty and Beauty and the Beast becomes clear, as also to the heroine of the more explicit tale of the Frog Prince, in which the girl has to let the frog, oh my gosh, have intercourse with her before the creature can be revealed to be a prince. These two tales are then counterparts of Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, the role of the sexes being reversed. I don't get this. In these deeply penetrating tales, fairy godmothers do not suddenly materialize, waving wands that make everything come right. The power of the godmothers is limited. Sometimes all they are able to offer is advice. They are never able to, it seems, to change a worldly situation or alter a wicked heart. What they can do, on occasion, is assist in the breaking of a spell or in the alleviation of its ill effect. In the story of Cinderella, the most interesting of the tales, since the spell is the least apparent, we are repeatedly told in variants, firstly of the girl's essential goodness, and secondly, not only of the poor and even ridiculous clothes she wears, the rags, the gray bed gown, the garment made of rushes, but of her dirtiness, a condition we would not expect of the kind of person we know her to be, no matter how humble her employment, were she not, as she is, under a spell to appear sluttish. Nobody outside her family, it is apparent, must know she is other than a menial until the prince, who has only a sign to go by, finds her as if guided by a star, and offers himself to her while she is still in her unattractive state. Further, she herself must behave as if she was a menial. The reason she returns home before midnight is to ensure that not even members of her family shall associate her with the vision of virtue and loveliness they have been admiring at the ball. The prince's admiration of her in her party dress is worthless. It is essential he plights himself to her while she is a kitchen maid, or the spell can never be broken. And in this, a curious parallel to the Christ story is apparent. A man of perfect heart, living in the guise of a poor carpenter's son, has to be accepted in his lowly state. He cannot reveal himself to be anyone but a simple, though high-minded Nazarene, even when a purple robe was draped around his shoulders, a crown of thorns placed on his head, and he was mocked. Nor, if his mission was to be a success, could God the Father assist him with a direct sign. Had Christ been shown in his full glory, recognition of his virtues, whether by pauper or by prince, would have been valueless. On the face of it, the message of the fairy tale is that the transformation to a state of bliss is effected not by the magic, but by the perfect love of one person for another. Yet clearly, even this is not the whole story. The transformation is not an actual transformation, but a disenchantment, the breaking of a spell. In each case, we are aware that the person was always noble, that the magic has wrought no change in the person's soul, only in his or her outward form. There you go. In fairy tales, there is no saving of the wicked in heart. Their fate is to have inflicted on them the evil they would inflict on others. In other words, karma. The tub filled with toads and vipers shall become the murderous queen's final resting place. That's why we have to be really careful about what we wish for others. In anger, we have thoughts, or we might say something, but we really, at least I know myself. Anyways, I work on it every day. But I do believe in justice. And I would say, for the first time, I do believe that there is a line that when crossed, there's no turning back. And there are some out there that know they've crossed the line. Whether they change their mind and ask for mercy, I don't know. But the point is that they can't get to the heart if you don't let them. It's a choice. And everyone has that choice. It's not up to anybody else. And we can't blame others, though there are some that are actually definitely responsible. We're all under a spell. And we gotta find a way out. I don't know, just my thoughts. Anyways, have a good day. Have a wonderful holiday, if it's your holiday. And I'll be back soon. I'm going to read another chapter or section. It's called The Nature of the Tales. Ooh. Anyways, have a great day.